All right, let's dive in. We're going to unpack 10 ideas that are honestly pretty simple on the surface, but they're also incredibly powerful. Seriously, if you really let these sink in, they could totally change how you see, well, everything. Your life, your future. You ready? Let's get into it. Okay, let me start by asking you something. And be honest, are you waiting to feel ready? You know that feeling, right? Waiting for that perfect moment, for all the stars to align, for the confidence to magically appear before you finally do the thing. It's such a common feeling, this idea that we're just not quite there yet.
But here's the big twist. What if we've got it completely backward? What if readiness isn't something you wait for, but something you create? The truth is, you don't wait to feel ready. You just act. And it's the action itself that makes you ready. Just think about it. Every single person you look up to, they all started out feeling just as lost and unprepared as you might feel right this second.
Okay, so if action is the key, then what's the deal? What's holding us back? Well, it's almost always the battle that's raging inside our own heads. Before you can master your life, you gotta master your mindset. It all starts with winning that inner game. Let's talk about that little voice in your head, that inner critic. You know the one that's always whispering, "I'm not good enough." Here's the thing. That voice isn't telling you the truth. It's just fear talking. The actual evidence, your actual reality, is in the small wins. The little promises you kept to yourself, the tiny steps forward you've already taken. That's what's real.
And that's exactly why you can't just think your way into being confident. I mean, positive thinking is great, but it's not the whole story. Real, lasting confidence, that's something you earn. It's the byproduct of actually doing things and keeping those promises you make to yourself. It's about stacking up evidence, one small win at a time, until your brain has no choice but to believe it.
All right, now for the big one, failure. The fear of failing is probably the #1 thing that stops us from even trying. So we have to completely change how we think about it. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of the process of success. Think of it this way. Every time you fail, you're not losing. You're just collecting data. So what do you do with that data? You turn it into a tool. Instead of letting a mistake totally crush you, you get curious. You ask these 3 simple questions. What went wrong? What did I learn from this? And what am I going to do differently next time? That's it. It's a simple little process that transforms failure from this big, scary monster into, well, your greatest teacher. And the last piece of this whole mindset puzzle, gratitude. Look, when things get tough, our brains are hardwired to zoom in on everything that's going wrong. It's a survival thing. But gratitude is the antidote. It doesn't make the hard stuff disappear, but it stops the hard stuff from becoming the only stuff. It's a practice that, over time, builds this incredible, almost unbreakable resilience. Okay, so once we've started working on our mindset, we can get to the practical stuff, the mechanics of actually making progress. It's time to build what I like to call your action engine, the systems and tools that'll turn those I should thoughts into I did. So many of us wait around for motivation to strike. But here's the problem. Motivation is totally unreliable. It's a feeling, and feelings come and go. Discipline, though, that's permanent. That's about building systems, building habits that are so ingrained your feelings don't even enter the equation. I mean, think about it. You don't need to feel motivated to brush your teeth, do you? You just do it. We need to apply that exact same logic to our biggest goals. And here's a really powerful way to think about discipline. We tend to see it as this punishment, right? This chore. But what if it's actually the ultimate act of self-respect? Every single time you make a disciplined choice, you're basically sending a message to your future self. You're saying, hey, I care about you. I respect you enough to do the hard thing for you today.
So how do you actually build this discipline? It's not by making some huge, dramatic life change overnight. That almost never works. No, it starts with this tiny number, 1%. The whole goal is just to be 1% better today than you were yesterday. That's it. And this is where that 1% becomes an absolute superpower. It's the magic of compounding. I mean, at first, you won't even notice the changes. They're practically invisible. But over a year, those tiny, consistent improvements, they snowball. They add up to you being 37 times better. It's incredible, and it's why consistency will beat short bursts of intensity every single time. But let's be real. Taking action almost always means stepping into discomfort. We all face this choice every single day, really. Do you stay in the safe life, the comfortable zone where nothing changes and you're kind of stuck? Or do you choose the meaningful life,
the one that's uncomfortable sometimes, the one where you're growing, but the one that leads to actual fulfillment.
So it all boils down to this one powerful idea, this loop. You don't wait to find confidence before you do the hard thing. You do the hard, uncomfortable thing, and that's how you build the confidence. See? Action comes first. Confidence is the result. It's built after you act, never before.
All right, so we've got the mindset piece and we've got the action engine. Now let's zoom out and put it all together. How do we design a life that isn't just about achieving goals, but one that's actually resilient? A life that can handle the curveballs the real world is definitely going to throw at you.
This next idea is so important, especially today. We're just constantly bombarded with opportunities, requests, and distractions. And every single time you say yes to one of those things,
You're automatically saying no to something else. It's a zero-sum game. You're saying no to your own goals, to your rest, to your family. So protecting what's truly important means you have to get really good at saying no. It's not about finding more time in the day, it's about fiercely protecting the time you already have.
Okay, but what if you're feeling completely lost, like you need to hit the reset button on everything? Well, there's a simple back-to-basics framework for that. You don't try to fix your whole life in one weekend. You just focus day in and day out on these 4 core pillars. First, your health, sleep, food, movement. Then, your money. Get your expenses under control. Third, your skills. Learn something valuable. And finally, your relationships. Create distance from anyone who drains you.
You know, we can get so paralyzed trying to find our capital P purpose. We think it has to be this huge, grand, world-changing thing. But what if purpose is much quieter than that? What if it's not some big title or award, but it's just doing the small things with care, serving others in little ways, trying to be just a tiny bit better today than you were yesterday?
And really, that's the big secret, isn't it? An extraordinary life isn't created in one big heroic moment. It's built. It's assembled, piece by piece, brick by brick, through those boring, ordinary actions that you do consistently, day after day.
which brings us full circle, right back to where we began. So consider this your official permission slip. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't need a perfect plan. Just start. Start small. Start messy. Start absolutely scared out of your mind. Just start.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. Forget about the grand 5-year plan for just a second. After everything we've talked about, what is your one imperfect step? What is the one small, messy, maybe even scary action that you are going to take today to move yourself forward?
Like, share, and subscribe to Connect and Build. I have already done. Did you guys subscribe?